All right, let's get into spoilers.
Oh, now everyone be aware that we are now in the spoiler section. So yeah, it's not even going to be possible spoilers. It's going to be pretty definite spoilers.
Spoilers so, yeah. Coming. No, I need spoiling.
Yeah. So you have now been warned. We have changed the thumbnail. We have changed the video description. Natasha even says spoilers coming up. So we trust that everyone who is still here wants spoilers. And to everyone that doesn't, like John Williams and Jedi 6 and everyone else, goodbye. Thanks for joining us so far. We look forward to seeing you again on Friday.
That was so cool. Let's do it again, because I'll never get to ever use it again.
That was very cool, I have to say.
Hey, we paid for that shit. We better use it. All right, Diego Flores says, I do remember the 2005 one, but it really didn't have the impact here. Well, because of the same idea, I was 15 years old, interested in girls, and not wanting to see the movie about my dad's generation monster. Oh, God, you're making me feel old.
Yeah, but it had Naomi Watts. I mean, she was pretty hot.
Yeah, right?
Hell yeah.
You take a girl to a movie like that, you're definitely getting laid.
Yeah.
All right.
And she was...
And Valiant Renegade's out. So hopefully y'all can check back.
Later, Valiant.
Check back when we, after you get to see the film, we have this split up. But all right, boys and girls. Now, Andre.
Yes.
Where do you want to begin?
Well, yeah, okay, exactly. Where to begin? Let's begin with what we liked about the movie, and we take it from there. And then we do all the dislikes afterward. But Paulie, what did you like? And now spoilers are okay. Tell us specifically what you liked about the movie. And we'll get into the fights and who won and everything like that.
Yeah,
of course.
So who won?
So who won?
Right.
Like, we don't care. Who won?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, fine, let's do that right away then. Tom, who won?
I would say it was kind of a semi-tie, but technically Kong won.
Serious?
Yes. Because
Andre.
I'll explain it.
He won much the same way as Rocky won in Rocky 1. Yeah,
he won. Yeah, he won.
He won. The fact that he didn't die.
No, there was basically 4 fights, and he won 2.5 out of the fights. And he kicked the shit out of Mechagodzilla, who kicked the shit out of Godzilla. So that's the way I look at it. He basically kicked the shit out of Drago, who killed the guy who beat him in part 1. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on that
one.
Well,
considering they flat out said that Mechagodzilla is more powerful than Godzilla, right? They flat out said that. And he kind of proved it by just totally fucking clotheslining Godzilla like with nobody, like it was nobody's business. And truthfully, they let Godzilla cheat a little bit in this. Because I'll say this up front. First of all, people with all the like, oh, monkey can't beat lizard, he's nuclear. Like, look, I get it. If you're talking about the original OG King Kong from the original style films, that's one thing. But no, this is the Toho Kong. We got to remember that right from the start. And I think that's what Kong Skull Island was trying to tell us from the very, very start. Mm-hmm. And there is a shit ton of callbacks to the original Kong versus Godzilla. And I'm sure we'll get into those as we get going. But
I don't know if he won.
It was more of a tie.
It was a draw.
Yeah, I mean, it was more of a tie.
It was a draw, which was basically like Godzilla saying several times, like, yeah, okay, I'll let you live. You helped me out, so I'll let you live.
No, he totally saved Godzilla.
And also, Tom, like, remember, like, before
Kong dropping the hammer was him letting him live, more or less. Because
No, I disagree completely. That was Kong saying, you know what, I'm completely exhausted. I know that if we're going to do this again, you're going to kill me, just like you were the last time. So I
Let's
yield.
go back. Let's go back. Let's go back by like each meeting. Like the first one in the sea, Kong lost.
He didn't lost so badly that Godzilla could have killed him anytime he wanted to.
He could have taken. He took off.
He had plot armor to be able to stay alive. Plot armor is the only thing that.
Yeah, but half of that was because Kong was chained through the first part of the fucking fight, and then he.
In deep water, yeah.
No, because he was in deep water. Yeah, he was completely chanceless. He had no chance.
But that's like Jason being in the dream world kind of thing. Like, I mean, of course, Freddy's got the advantage. Like, that's putting, it might as well have been Jaws, same difference there.
And then the Tokyo meetup.
Kong kicks his ass at first. And
Kong won the second round.
And then Kong gets his ass kicked.
Here's like the thing. He only won the second round because kind of like the bell rung. If there had been no bell ringing, if it had continued on.
He's the one who rung his bell.
No, come on, Andre. You got to give him that second round,
he whacked him with that axe, and he's like, oh, fuck, man.
He did that. But I'm saying if it had carried on, Godzilla would have recovered that. And I'm Team Kong. I'm Team King Kong here. But
who's Tim?
Team.
I know. Yeah. No, listen, Andre. Then the third round, he basically was dying because he got his ass kicked so much.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
But they gave him, and this is where I loved the callback to Kong versus Godzilla, the old one. Mm-hmm. They gave him the jump with the electricity, great. And motherfucker was like rage ready, and he just rips Mechagodzilla apart. Yeah, and that's the thing. So he has that axe, and he's there. And you're right. They would have fought. That's the thing. Kong is not just gonna fucking stand down, man. He was ready to fight to the fucking death. Him putting down the hammer was like, we're just not gonna do this anymore, kind of thing. Like, and
I read it as I'm exhausted. I'm gonna die if we do this again.
Well, he knew he was gonna die, but he's ready to fight to the death, man.
Against Godzilla?
Yeah.
No, both of you guys are wrong. I read it as I'm gonna listen to my best friend.
Well, that part, yes.
Because my best friend says Godzilla is not your enemy, and when I'm going back to the question was what did I like? That's the best That's the best person character I loved was the deaf girl. I loved her.
Oh yeah, she was great.
It was
I loved that whole bit.
I loved it, man. I was like, I want more of that. I saw it as like truce, respect. I'm gonna go to my domain, you go to yours, and
I agree with that they were like okay, fine. And then Godzilla Godzilla was the one who did the victory roar and went back to the sea.
No, he did a roar too.
He did a okay, all right.
What is more right? I think you're right because I kind of forgot about one part there. But yeah, no, you're right. He just was like, okay, I'm done. We're good. And Godzilla's like, yeah, all right, cool. And he left. And the fact that Kong was still standing on the ground to me meant that he's kind of like more victorious in this, if you ask me. Because
he was more victorious in that he was so outclassed that he should have been dead many times over. So yeah, he was more victorious in that way. As I say, he was like the victorious in the same way that Rocky Balboa was victorious in the first movie, in that he was still standing by the end of it.
Yeah, but then he went and killed Drago because fucking if he didn't get in the middle of that, Mechagodzilla was going to take Godzilla out.
He saved Godzilla's life.
That's what I'm saying. And the fact that he beat Mechagodzilla,
it took that was a 2-on-1 thing.
Yeah, for a little bit. No, at the end it was fucking Godzilla just hacking the shit out of him, or Kong hacking the shit out of him and taking him down because Godzilla was pretty much out for the count at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not disputing
Godzilla got really wounded.
No, he was down. And they made that point to say. And that's where I said they kind of cheated by letting Godzilla run because that was where the fight was always, to me, the people weren't thinking that, the fight was more fair is, Godzilla is more supercharged and he could fry Kong easily if he got him pinned down or whatever, which he probably could have in that one part where he crushed his lungs, where he technically almost died. and he probably could have finished him off if he wanted to. I'm not going to deny that point.
Mhm.
But on the other side of that, Kong is much more agile, faster, leaner. He can use weapons. He's smarter. So that was where they were very well matched. Where you had Mechagodzilla, why he outmatched Godzilla was he had all the power of Godzilla, plus he had the agility of Kong.
Mhm.
But when Kong came in, that's where, they that's where the stupid shit with the fucking other characters takes away from that fight. And do we want to get into that part? Because those are the characters I think everybody hates. The podcaster, Millie Bobby Brown, and Fat Kid from Deadpool 2.
Yeah, obviously.
Stop the fuck out of this movie.
They were horrible.
Do not need to be here. None of that was even necessary. That could have been, there's where you could have explained shit away in 2 minutes with exposition. All you needed is one bit where Skarsgård is looking over the shoulder of the daughter of the bad guy and sees a big Mechagodzilla thing on a computer screen and goes, what the fuck are you guys doing? Is this what you're harnessing the power for? What the hell is this? And that's
would have been so much better.
Yeah.
That would have been so much better. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That whole podcast guy and the kids,
because you didn't even have to have Mechagodzilla being what's setting off Godzilla, because we already had that. They established the orca from the last film. All you had to have was Apex setting that off to make Godzilla go nuts, so then they can go into the government and say, hey, by the way, we have this built that will combat Godzilla just for an occasion like this. See, that was where that was all. Just none of that bit made sense. It was all rushed there at the end, and that's where Mechagodzilla almost felt like fucking Doomsday for a little bit there.
I have to say, I liked them. That part of the movie I liked better than Pacific Rim, I think.
I mean, Mechagodzilla was cool, but they wasted him. Like, that was what I felt like, and they missed the opportunity of they should have had Mechagodzilla in Mount Fuji, and that's just me because that's where the final fight takes place in the last one. And that would have made more sense to hide him in something like that. You know what I mean? But that's just me. I don't know what you guys think on that. But no, I feel like the setup for Mechagodzilla was clumsy, and it could have been done so much better. And
because of that idiot trio of human characters that was
from the last movie. Yes.
Yeah. At least one of them was from the last movie. I don't think all of them were. But,
Millie Bobby Brown and her dad.
Yeah.
And that's the connection.
Kyle Chandler.
Yeah, exactly. I like Kyle Chandler.
We just needed a cameo from him. That's all we needed. We didn't.
Yeah.
That's a waste of Kyle Chandler. I mean, he had like nothing to do. Nothing. He did nothing. He did nothing in that movie.
No. He literally did nothing. He was there and he was worried and wondering where his daughter was, and that was it.
Right, and then he ends up in Tokyo. How did he end up in Tokyo? What?
That's okay. I like the whole inside the earth thing. What's it called? That
was amazing. The Hollow Earth. That was my favorite part of the movie. My problem with
it, though, is you have
that's the extra movie.
Crap. You have a lot of crap that's wasted in other places where you could have explained this shit a little bit more, where you could have used that a little bit more. And that's kind of like in this movie, the only reason it's used for is to get him to Tokyo real quick. That's it. Until the end, really, if you think about it. Get him the hammer and then get him to Tokyo quick.
Well, it was his domain, right? That he was home, and I was expecting other little King Kongs to show up. You
should have utilized it in some other way. Yeah, better at least.
Like that's where that extra movie. That I'm like, oh shit, King Kong in Hollow Earth. That would have been dope.
That's the movie right there, because that was my favorite part of the movie. Was actually that whole Hollow Earth thing, which is like a great sci-fi concept, and I wish they would have done more with it, but I'm glad we got what we got by all means. It was especially cool with that whole like gravity switch.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was dope. How you basically have like Godzilla and Kong at the top of each their hole, both looking down at each other because of the gravitational switch there. It was also like a great way to visualize it with like the stones that were like floating right there, where you have like the equilibrium. That was also really, really cool. So I love that thing there. But you had like some stupid things as well, like for instance, like this ship and why you needed to follow a monster to get in there at all. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
You just
Again,
took the chip.
the only reason you're bringing Godzilla is so you can get him to Tokyo real quick. Again, they use that in a way that was kind of wasted, and that was my point. Outside of that, it's not used again till the end. And that's the whole reason for having him in that facility in the beginning. It's like, okay, the movie we missed here is what the fuck happened on Skull Island?
Next, it was taken by storm. Must have been one hell of a storm. I would have liked to see that storm.
They could have showed it to us.
Well, then they quarantined him, right? They built a whole complex around him.
Yeah, and I believe that actually was on the island. So
he's basically living in the Truman Show. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and he throws a spear at the ceiling of it.
It's pointless because it means he knows he's there.
Right. Then he would have just attacked it.
That's my point.
He's a smart guy. He just would have attacked it. Yeah, that was kind of lame.
Yeah,
the movie should have started with this whole idea that, I didn't mind that idea, but you had to give us that.
The idea is fine, but I agree it's missing a King Kong movie in there.
Exactly. And you could still do that, but why now? What's the fucking point?
I'd watch it.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it either, but I hate that. Why keep bouncing back? They should have, because clearly we should have gotten this movie somewhere between. We should have had 2 Godzilla movies and 2 Kong movies leading into this movie, is what I'm trying to say here. They missed, for some reason, they missed out on the opportunity of making and there's no excuse that they shouldn't have. There should have been a Kong movie like Kong 86 or whatever. And that'd have been about the storm or whatever. No, it'd been less than that because she's only many years old or whatever. Or you could have done that and then set up this idea of whatever's coming and they moved him or whatever. Like that whole
you could have done like a Kong 2019 or something.
Whatever,
something. But anyway, that's a movie that's needed. We're missing a King Kong movie.
Exactly.
Well, going forward, I'd like to see the Kong Hollow Earth and with his throne and his.
Yeah, exactly. Also,
with no humans though. We don't need any humans.
And there's also like an implication of like that whole like thing with the door and everything. Like, did Kong's people build that? Did they have a fairly advanced Neolithic civilization?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is clearly not the Kong that most people think it is. This is the Toho Kong. And if you know what I'm saying, because it's a totally different Kong in Kong versus Godzilla. And then even though people think it's related, it's not. The Kong Escaped is actually the Rankin Base Kong, which again is a completely different Kong, and he's a lot smarter and all these other things, and it is a bit goofier, and they're taking all those elements and putting it into this. And at first I was resistant to it in the last one just because the humans were so stupid, but again, I agree with you. It's like, if you're going to take me to this extreme with like this Hollow Earth business and all that kind of stuff, and this idea that there's this lore with the Kong family and how they battle with the former kaiju and all that kind of shit, and even battle old Godzillas and stuff like that. That's the whole idea, is like, yeah, he's the protector of humans. Godzilla's the protector of Earth. That makes sense. Like, you have that, what I mean? That's why he's a king, and that's why Godzilla's a god. Duh. I mean, it's really simple. It makes sense. And I don't know why they just spent all this other time with fucking Millie Bobby Brown, that they could have set up all this stuff that you're talking about, Andre.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, like, to me, that was the movie. That was the part that I liked the most, was just that. And that actually, remember I said this after Godzilla King of Monsters. My favorite part of that movie, too, was the end credits. Because if you, like, pause and you freeze frame, you can, like, read the redacted things where they talk about Hollow Earth and ancient religions and stuff like that. And that's kind of what we got explored here. This is like the cool stuff, but I would have wanted a whole different movie on it.
Yeah, or at least they could have cut out all that Millie Bobby Brown shit and put that stuff in here.
Yeah, that was completely ridiculous. That was what a waste. And I wonder, like,
the movie's not even 2 hours long.
Yeah, like, what executive thought that we need these point of view characters, these stupid people that you're just completely defies belief.
No, the little girl is all you needed.
Yeah, she was
all
good.
You fucking needed.
Yeah, she was
This
great.
is the irony. Before the movie, she was the one that actually worried me the most. Boy, was I wrong, because she was perfectly fine.
I knew what they were going to do with her. I mean, and again, like for those the spoilers that came out a couple months ago, they're all here. It was all in this basically. There was obviously a lot of details that weren't there, but I mean, it's all pretty much the same that came out. So, like again, the girl she's the best new character. I love the relationship between her and the surrogate mother. Which isn't she a character from one of the Godzillas before?
I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, was she in one of the other ones?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, she's been in something else I saw recently, or she looks a lot
Rebecca Hall was in Iron Man 3.
Okay,
and she was The Town.
You sure she wasn't in the last Godzilla one?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure? Okay, people are saying no. So okay,
I know that if they ever were to do a remake of Popeye, she would be a great olive oil. But
yeah, I see what you're saying there. But no, like I loved their relationship. I love that she was talking to Kong and keeping it a secret. And I love, how, she was the last, orphan or whatever from the island kind of thing. So there was that connection between the two of them. It all made sense. And I liked it. It really kind of called back to a little kind of tongue in cheek to the old Toho movies and stuff like that. And that's where I say, this is clearly not the Kong that scales the Empire State Building with a blonde in his hand. Yeah, people got to remember that. Like, it's a totally different Kong. I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but like, that's where I said it's the Toho Kong. And that's the only way I can kind of explain it, like what I mean? Because that's the only other version there is before. And it clearly, I mean, there's so many callbacks to the original Godzilla versus Kong. Like, so many little winks and nods. And that was the shit that really kind of I liked. Like seeing, because, they bring him on a boat to begin with. And then, so you have the whole raft thing. And then, they have him fly him in and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's all kind of cool like that. And then the shocking him at the end and all that kind of stuff. But now again, we kind of gotten into stuff we didn't like though. Let's talk a little bit more about that, Andre, because you actually were not too impressed with this film when you first came into the conversation this morning before we started the podcast.
Yeah. There's something tonally that just, it's not anything wrong with the movie, but it's not for me. All of these movies, and this is the same with Godzilla, with Kong Skull Island, a movie I generally like. But even there is something with the tone that I don't like. I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something tonally that just doesn't work well with me. That's one thing. And then, of course, it is, as we both agreed, the characters. This trio of kid from Deadpool, daughter from previous movie, and the blogger, that they were just like ridiculous, and I didn't like them. And they detracted from the screen every single time they were there, and the movie would be so much better without them. So they should never have been filmed. And again, this is not a slight against the actors. The actors were fine. The problem is that they were written into completely nonsensical characters that just go around acting really stupid, making the movie dumb with their presence, and they're just kind of like there. And I would like to hear what's the justification for having those characters. Why did anyone think they were going to work? I mean, just look at the script. It should be obvious that these characters, they serve no real purpose. They're just kind of like there along for the ride, detracting every single step of the way. And then there were like some things that were just like plain stupid to me, where I kind of like wished that they would have found other explanations that would have been like just as well. Like, for instance, this way of, they wanted to go into the hollow earth, and so they had built this super spaceship thing that could do it, that could survive the gravity shift, because that apparently is like a really, really big deal.
Makes
although
sense.
It didn't seem like that, but yeah. And then they have to go in after a monster that goes through, and to me that was completely nonsensical.
The reason
either you have the shift, or you have the ship that can take it, or you don't.
Yeah, well, the thing was, is they said they didn't know the way, which was kind of stupid. That it had nothing to do so much with them needing the monster to have a monster to open the door or anything. It just had to do with they didn't know the way to get in there, some bullshit, and they thought Kong would lead them to the power source. Which
how the hell would he? Yeah, he fell
exactly. No, what it should have been. No, and you're right, and I agree with you. This is the same problem the last movie had. The reason they brought him with should have been he's getting too hostile for his environment. This is a chance to put him someplace that Kong can be safe and won't be attacked by Godzilla, because that whole idea makes sense. Like why they would keep him, enclosed all this time off of Skull Island makes sense. All that shit makes sense. But then you add that part into it, and it's like, okay, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Same thing with the Millie Brown Bobby character, or Bobby, what I would keep fucking her name up. But same with her character. Like her whole storyline could have been explained, like I just said earlier, and with a couple other things, real simple. You didn't need all that excess bullshit, just like the fucking podcast guy and all that. Their whole storyline just took away from the movie.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah. But no, like that's what it should have been. The motivation to bring Kong along should have just been, we need to find a new home for him. This is the only possibility.
I agree completely. That would have been a much, much better motivation than let's just follow him and see if he knows the way. Because to me, that was like, you're making some pretty heavy assumptions here. And again, that's also something that I wish that the movie would have answered. Like, why did these Kongs leave there in the first place? I mean, just there you have a different Kong movie. What happened to the Kong civilization?
Yeah,
just there you have.
They should have had us like. Yeah. I wouldn't have cared if the first part of the movie was like a flashback to all that kind of stuff.
I would have welcomed it.
Yeah, exactly. And leading up to now, and then like, okay, we know what's going on in Godzilla's world. Catch us up to speed with King Kong's, and then boom, get us into this story.
Yeah. That would have been pretty sweet, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So sadly, that didn't happen. But
that's last minute there.
What was that?
I missed the last minute there. What you guys were.
Oh, we were just talking about how even if they would have took out all the excess BS on the people returning from the last film, and just gave us a bunch of flashback stuff in the first portion of the film, we would welcome that more than what we got with their characters. Because we wanted more of a setup of what the history of the lore of the Kong family, or what the hell it all kind of meant. A little bit of, even if it was just exposition for the fucking audience at that point.
Yeah. Now having thought about it and talked about it, these human stories are pissing me off. Now
you know how I felt with the last movie, even though it's not as bad with this one. But people are like, how come you don't love it? I'm like, I love all the monster shit. I just hate the fucking people. They're fucking stupid. And the people fucking story could have been easily like streamlined, and the same problem you have here. Not with the Kong side of things, but with the Godzilla side of things, the returning problem. And that's the problem we have.
Or you just have those people, and you don't need to bring anyone new in, and just have it Kyle and the daughter, and it's Kyle and the daughter, right? So you can get all that other information, periphery, and make the daughter and the blogger and the best friend, you dig in deeper with these characters. But I hated those characters to begin with, so I wouldn't do that. I would have gotten rid of all of them and just made it those three characters: Skarsgård, Rebecca Hall, and the deaf girl.
Those you could give Kyle, you could give him a cameo, but all you needed was that one scene where he's like, Godzilla is attacking and we don't know why. That's all we really need him for. Somebody to tell us that something's going on with Godzilla and something's not right.
Yeah, maybe Rebecca and Skarsgård, go meet him for a minute. That would be cool.
We don't even have to. We just see him because we know him, and there he's at that one facility or whatever. And maybe he's, if they would have used the orca, like I said, then that's another reason for him to be there. Be like, I recognize that. That's coming from the orca. How did they get that technology or something like that? Then there's more of a reason for him to be there.
Yeah,
like the way it is now, they're literally jamming them in there, and they go through this excessive bit that reminded me of Attack of the Clones when Anakin and Padme are going through the facility through the droid facility, which, I mean, yeah, on its own is an enjoyable, funny little bit, but it brings the movie to a fucking grinding halt.
Yeah, so it's pretty stupid.
And then you get the same shit here with them. They get locked in this room. They go through this long fucking thing on this. It's a big bunch of convoluted side story you don't need. It's excess bullshit when you're wasting all this time. And when you're like, no, I want to go back to the other characters. That doesn't help. You know, so you're really,
I mean, and again, those, that's like all they do. At least with the, the Anakin Padme thing, they did other shit. They just, where they had that droid factory moment. But, the characters that were kind of like interesting, like Walter Simmons and then his daughter, they're like cutthroat. I kind of like that.
That actually makes sense for once. I will say this. There's actually villains in the movie that make sense. And usually in these movies, they're the first thing I bitch about is you don't need villains in monster movies. You already got villains. They're monsters. Like, it makes no sense. That's what pisses me off about most Jurassic Park movies. But yeah, his whole thing, and it could have been easily done streamlined, like Andre and I were just saying. Yeah. With him even. You didn't need all this convoluted bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
The fights were great, if you ask me. They were very well done. Like because we got like 4 decent fights, and that's
they were much better than most of what we've seen.
Actually, we get 5 if you count Kong kicking the shit out of those bat things, whatever they were.
Yeah, that was really cool. How he tore like one in half,
and he ate it. Yeah, he's like,
yeah, that was killer.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that was really cool.
So yeah, I mean, and it's because somebody said in the chat, "Oh, we get 5 minutes of monster action." No, you get plenty of monster action.
Well, you get loads of it.
But the problem is the shit in between.
Yeah, absolutely no. And I have no complaints about the action. Let's say the action in the movie was plenty. It was easy to see what was going on. I have no complaints about that. None at all.
No, the fights were really well done.
Yeah, I think so.
They got me excited. I was into them. I mean, we even kind of interpret them a little bit differently, but no.
But I mean, what? But that's actually a strength, because that only goes to show that you have to think a little bit about it. Because I haven't like done a deep dive into what any of that meant or anything. I've just like that's like my first thought was that, but that may not be the final word on it.
There was a cool move. There was a cool move where Kong steps on a building and does a Superman punch.
Oh yeah, when he does our parkour punch.
That was so sweet. Yeah. Sweet.
There was some nice little moves in there here and there. They're just like, okay, yeah.
But it was like, that's agility wise, that's how he could move.
Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's where he gets the upper hand, especially when Godzilla's pinned into these cities. And now, 70s Rock fan, is the movie any good or not? Well, I think you get 2 out of 3 recommendations here on the panel. I'm betting.
Actually, you can make that 3 out of 3 because I gonna have the hedge the whole time that I'm aware that I am not the target audience. I've never been into like giant monsters and stuff like that. This movie, in some sense, is not for me because it doesn't agree with my sensibilities. And even so, I can see why that there's fun in this movie. And even though I don't love it myself, I wouldn't begrudge anyone else. So let's say that you're going to get 2.5 out of 3 recommendations here.
You know what? I bet I can recut this movie without all the Millie Bobby Brown shit.
I bet you
would enjoy it.
So many fan edits that would be so good out of this.
And you could streamline it so much better. But yeah, no, I think I guess you got 3 recommendations there then, that 70s Rock fan.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
And I got to argue with this again just a little bit. Yeah, both of them Kong would have died if it wasn't for the humans. The humans didn't.
Godzilla would have died if it wasn't for
Kong. So like, yeah. And then Kong, like I said, it's a kind of a, like, I think I like how Andre and I kind of agree. It's like a Rocky thing. Sure. Rocky got his ass beat the first time by Apollo Creed. And, he did win barely the second time, but then Apollo Creed got killed by Ivan Drago, but he beat Ivan Drago. So that's kind of the way the fight went. If it wasn't for Kong, Mechagodzilla would have killed Godzilla. Like that was his whole goal. Like, yeah.
I disagree with. I mean, Rocky never saved Creed.
No, he beat Drago though.
And Drago killed
King
Creed.
Kong saves Godzilla, man.
Yeah, I know. He didn't throw in the towel. No, but the fight part of it. Like, yeah, you could say
he went.
Creed beat Rocky originally, right? Okay, fine. But
did he?
Yeah, I guess so.
Did he won on points, and we also
then he won a lot. Rocky won a lot
and
more than just the fight.
In Creed, we learned that in that fight after Rocky 3, where we basically see them hit each other, he admitted in Creed that that Apollo won that fight.
Yeah, well, that's but that's
kind of how this went, though. If you look at it in a way, Godzilla won the first one, Kong won the second one. Then Godzilla beat Kong, and then Kong beat Mechagodzilla, and saved Godzilla, in the process. And had his axe, and had Hollow Earth. He was a pimp. Yeah, he's like, "What's up?" So, like, really, you want to fight? You want to fight? Right? He says that to Godzilla. The only thing we don't agree on is the very, very ending, and I agree with Paulie. I forgot about the little girl telling him that they're friends. That was
the whole point.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
I'd forgotten about that as well. Where basically Kong decided that we don't have to do this, so I'm going to drop this.
He didn't want to hear it from her. He didn't want to hear it from her
because he was ready to go back after.
Remember? He's like, nah. Remember, he snorted and grunted. He looked away from her. I thought that was great.
Like, nah, you're wrong. That's what I love about their relationship is how she could just. He's like, he doesn't trust, you guys. He doesn't believe you, and she could sense when he was happy, when he was sad, when he was, by just feeling the ground to feel his heartbeat and shit, like all that kind of stuff. I would have loved to see more of the relationship between her and him. Like they really could have built that up a bunch more. Like, I mean, it could have seen a lot more of that.
Totally, man. And totally, man, totally.
And that was what was wasted. I feel like in this because of the other crap.
Yeah, that was just what was that all about? It was just dumb.
It was just so they could have those characters from the last movie, which is stupid because they have never carried any characters over till now, other than Watanabe or whatever his name is in the first and second one when he died.
Serizawa, he was a Serizawa too, wasn't he?
He was great.
Yeah, so like. Other than that character, which was kind of a tangential character, they hadn't carried any other characters over. So what the fuck was the point? There was none. Like I said, all you really needed was just a cameo of Kyle or whatever going like, Godzilla's upset, blah, 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 all that shit I said already. So like, I'm not going to reiterate it. But like, yeah, like, I don't get why they had to go to this extent. And it's like, it feels like this movie just needed one more rewrite, just like the last one. But it's not as bad as BVS or certain other movies that are very similar. I will say that. So again, for those who think I'm like bashing on this movie, I enjoy this movie. I will watch it again. I would watch this probably before I'd watch any of the other Godzilla films. And like I said, it goes really well with Kong Skull Island. That's for sure. But I feel like there's another film in the middle there we're missing.
Yeah.
Or there could be one in the future.
There would be, but I just don't feel like it'd be as eventful because we already know how it would end. Like, that's what I hate about prequels like that, is there's no stakes involved.
No. Like a sequel, like, Kong and Hollow Earth.
Well, that will definitely get probably.
That'd be badass, man.
That will probably get.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
They won't put them together again for a while. I don't even know how many movies they have left on the Toho deal, even though Kong is separate. Yeah, I don't know how long.
Coen Brothers should do a Kong movie.
Hey, you know what? King Kong is one of those things. I love how many different versions there are. It's one I don't really mind there being remakes, and I embrace every one of them. That's one that, like, I know I'm showing some of my bias when it comes to Kong, but don't get me wrong, I do love Godzilla quite a bit. And I mean, they do a good job with both characters in this movie. I think anybody who's a fan, and I think that's the good point you make, Andre, is that like you're not as big of a fan as some people. I think I can say without a doubt, if you're a fan of these characters and these monster movies, you're gonna love this movie. Like it's everything you want it to be. It's got tons of callbacks to the older films. Yes, I do simp for Monkey. I don't care. I simp for the chimp. Yeah, and God, what else can I say about it other than the only problem, the biggest issue is just that those side characters. That's it. That's really it. And it could have beefed up other things if they'd have got rid of it. So,
yeah, the effects were great. I mean, you said there's some effects you didn't like. What were you?
There was a couple of. There was the one fight in the with Kong in the Hollow Earth that it just kind of almost felt Pixar-y at one point. But outside of that, all the other effects were pretty good.
Some of when he was running across the lands. That was pretty dope.
Most of that stuff was pretty good. I mean,
they're trying to keep up with them. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I really am I'm hard pressed to think of any effects that were really all that bad. And for the most part, that's the only one that sticks out to me and that was just because everything was 100% animated. So I'm like, yeah, none of this is real,
Right. Right. It looked great though. It was very fantasy.
There was a couple of shots though that were really convincing, especially of those skull crawler guys. I almost was convinced like one of them was maybe even practical, but I'm like, no way. Why would they build it practical just for one little shot like that? It just made no sense. It just happened that they got that good. And they'll do that once in a great while with CGI. Very, very, very rarely.
Did we bring up the opening shot? The opening sequence was hilarious.
Oh, where he tosses
he wakes up, he stretches and yawns, scratches his butt.
Yeah, that was great. Like that was proper waking up in the morning.
I love that.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was hilarious.
But again, there's like no doubt who's the point of view and the star in the movie. So what they did there, they humanized him. Like, you know this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they've kind of slowly humanized Kong over the years anyway. I mean, I kind of started with Kong versus Godzilla, and that's what I said. Like, it's a bit of a different version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like how they set it all. Yeah, and John Willis said it here. I was just going to say it again. Like, I really like how they set up Kong as kind of the protector of humans, and Godzilla is the protector of Earth. Like, Godzilla could give two shits about fucking you. Like, he could care less. But, Kong likes his little girl, and he doesn't want anything to happen to her. So, as long as she's safe, that's all that matters to him.
Exactly.
And it's a cute little relationship they have. And like I said, I wish they would have got to delve into it just a little bit more, especially getting to see them like, having a relationship before they left. Because that was really, I feel like what was missing too was, we get the opening shot like Paulie just said. But then from there on out, it's them dragging his ass out of there and then taking him to the center of the earth and all that kind of shit. Like, we don't really get to see their relationship prior to that, and we're just kind of, I mean, we believe it, but it would just been nice to see a little bit more setup.
Yeah, that would have been pretty okay. But overall, though, I thought that was, it was pretty fine. It was entertaining, not fully for me, and the humans were definitely the weak point, but overall a lot to enjoy here.
I love everybody's like Godzilla one. It was more of a tie than
you tell yourself that.
This is Godzilla fans, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean,
that may be a big part of it.
But that's great. I mean, that's that's why we like the movies, we're all excited about it. King Kong, Team Zilla.
Well, this is a good question, Mike, and this is one thing we were kind of saying too, is we wish they would have spent some time, even if it was just giving the audience some lore, and that would have helped explain, like Kong is probably smarter than they give him credit for, but he was disconnected from his family when he was young. They kind of set that up already.
Yeah.
How am I kidding myself? I don't care.
Damn.
Motherfucker took down fucking Mecha Godzilla like he wasn't even there practically. He's just like, no, chop you up. And Godzilla just like, yeah, cool.
Kong did not. How did he concede?
Nah, he just dropped his axe. He's like, if
he dropped his axe.
If Godzilla was coming,
he
said he was
are
still
going to
fight
interpret that as him conceding.
I don't know. If that's
it's just like I'm not gonna kill you.
I'm not gonna kill you. I see that as if you're gonna fight me, we're gonna fight man to man kind of thing.
I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna listen to what my little friend said.
Yeah, because he doesn't know if Godzilla's gonna not fight or not anymore. Yeah. He's ready to fight, but then I think that was kind of more of what it was. Kind of like when you're just that moment, you kind of like, okay, we're going to do this man to man, or are we just going to walk away? And he's like, yeah. And they just give him the head nods. And that's kind of what their roars are, and it's like Kong saying, yeah, leave my people alone. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Just leave me the fuck alone kind of thing. They're good, like,
I mean,
that's really kind of what they were saying. That's just me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think that, again, that's something that I do believe is open for interpretation and for debate.
Yeah, argument of the ages.
Well, see, because Kong is a lot smart. I think he is a lot smarter than everybody gives him credit for. Even if you watch Kong Skull Island, I mean, and that's where I'm saying he always has the upper hand in that sense. And I think they went out of their way to kind of make it more of a tie than it really had to be, especially once he had that fucking axe. Like, to me, that was like...
Speaking of Skull Island, many people ask, how did Mace Windu finally die? It's like he was on Skull Island. So
Kong just squashed his ass. Got enough of this shit. I have enough of this Samuel L. Jackson on my motherfucking island.
Well, and then the John C. Reilly character is really.
I love him. He's the
best character of that. I mean, that was pretty good. And then there was good old Brie Larson.
You're a bunch of good boys to die with.
Yeah,
die together.
He was great, and he had a sword, Death Before Dishonor. That was dope, man. That was sick. Yeah. These human characters are just
for only 40 years. I loved his character.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I was just re-seeing all of them, Andre, just to get ready for Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have done that too. I rewatched them relatively recently, and I think that my favorite ones it's going to be this one and Kong Skull Island probably. I haven't rewatched like Godzilla King of Monsters, so I have to rewatch that before I can assess. But all in all, good times.
King of the Monsters. Sorry, that's from the old trailer.
That's all right.
So let's get into some of these super chats real quick.
Yeah, let's see what you all have to say in the comments. Of course, that was quite a few things. We didn't get all of that, but we'll see what you have to say in the super chats now when we actually can share everything. So I'm just going to get back to where we were, and thanks so much for that.
Yo.
Where were we then? Almost. Oh yeah, here we are. The Jack of all casuals. He is no longer here listening because he said, "Okay, guys, no spoilers for me. Got to go." But yeah, that's a good thing. We were pretty clear about our warnings, so that everyone should have gotten that. And then Ron W says for $19.99, I think Tom is looking at money total, not people, because I think worldwide Godzilla is much more popular. Because of exchange rates in Eastern and Latin countries are lower, and US and Europe are higher cost countries. Yeah, if you were to count the actual amount of people, then maybe Godzilla would come out on top. He very well could. It could be that we're just like that we get like fooled because Godzilla traditionally has been less known than King Kong in Europe. Could be that's like very Eurocentric.
Could be, but just
Could
about
be.
every single King, at least the major King Kong movies, have all been theatrically released worldwide for the most part. But I can see where, like, like I said, I can see where Diego is coming from too, by like seeing it as his dad's monster, I guess, in a way, which just makes me like cringe a bit because I'm that old. But yeah.
And David March says, Tom is out of his goddamn mind. Kong only wins with the help from humans. Yeah, I believe we covered that one. And Nova Zero says, for $10 Australian, this is an appropriate fan fight. I remind you of this because the thing I was a fan of, it bears repeating, but both Rey and Kylo Ren sucks for endless reasons. Thank you. Yeah, they do, for endless reasons. No argue there. And Nelson Chereta says, Mecha Godzilla, take my money. Did he look good? You know what I will say, as someone not like a huge fan, Mecha Godzilla looked better than he had any right to look, was my opinion. What do you guys think? You're both muted.
The CGI was actually pretty good. And I'm not a huge fan of the traditional looking Mecha Godzilla. So I do like how they kind of streamlined it here a little bit and made it a bit more agile, and it made more sense because, like I said, it clearly was built to destroy Godzilla, obviously, and take his place.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, it reminded me a little bit of some of the Matrix, the bigger machines that came out of the ground in Matrix Revolution. Like the spine and the backbones and all that stuff. That reminded me of that reminded me of that. That was pretty cool.
I'm going to answer this. No, it did not look like a transformer.
No,
it looked more like a skeletal structure made out of steel.
Right.
With, it looked really kind of, it didn't look all chunky like the original Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to remember the one because they redesigned him a little bit in the later films, but I've only seen those like once. I'm trying to remember what he looked like there. It might be kind of more along that line. But no, it was pretty cool looking. Actually, they could have had more of it. That's what I was kind of pissed about.
What I got confused about was who was controlling him towards the end there, because
nobody.
He had like the skull from the
that's what it was set up that I believe that guy is supposed to be I thought that was supposed to be the son of Kevin Watanabe's character.
Yeah, I believe so too, and he got like cut out from.
Yeah, he got the shaft.
Control routine. Yeah, I think
seemed kind of interesting.
I think they even cut that bit out because I thought I swear there was a shot in a trailer or something somewhere where I saw them and he refers to his father, but was that in the movie? I don't think anywhere in the movie.
Nope,
I
don't recall that.
I think they cut out that reference, so I don't even think that you really know that unless you kind of just know it from that other scene or whatever it was, or maybe I'm misremembering something or just said that he was. I don't know, but like, yeah, no, that's how it worked initially. He's like in there, kind of like how they're hooked up into the machines in
Pacific Rim. Yeah.
But what happened at the end there is he lost control of Mechagodzilla, and then the feedback killed him.
Yeah, but who took over? Who took over control?
Nobody.
It was like by satellite link. Is that what they
said?
It
was linked up to the satellite. No, it was just running on its own. It was running on its own, like programming or whatever, to kill Godzilla. That was it. And that was why the kids were trying to hack into the system, because they were locked out, which was all stupid. You didn't need any of that shit. Like, all that didn't really help anything. And I mean, they really didn't do much when anyway. Yeah. Skynet took over.
Shit.
Yeah, that was
they got in the way.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was awful.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was really lame. That was really
no, I mean, I understand the machine going off like it did with the guy and frying him or whatever, because he even talks about not, testing it properly. Remember? And so that part made sense, but it was the part with them doing the other shit in like, yeah. What was the point of all that? None.
That was a bit.
I guess when they poured the alcohol in, it zapped out some of his whatever, but it didn't really do anything. I don't know.
Ta-da!
Yeah, exactly.
It was such a lame ta-da, like,
yeah,
device. I'm like, really?
Yeah, it was pretty stupid.
Yeah,
that was pretty lame. It really was. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, if anything, it's just I wasn't taking any of that seriously. It was just let me get back to the fun here.
No, I thought like it made sense. Like I said, they could have streamlined that so much better if they'd just made it to where like, yeah, clearly they want to replace Godzilla and they want to do it like like how OCP wanted to replace the cops and RoboCop. It's like they want to do it and make money at the same time. It's, first of all, you kill Godzilla, and then you make your machine the one that's, guarding Earth, and then the stupid thing fucking gets away from them. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, we can buy into that. I don't know. If you're gonna make him a bad guy, make him a bad guy. Don't go half-ass.
And I think that there must be many scenes on the cutting room floor there. Because that was even like bad for the whole Serizawa character. Like, okay, so you just killed his son for no reason. And why was the son suddenly so anti-Godzilla? Was it because he had an issue with his dad? His dad didn't love him enough because he was off chasing monsters his whole life? I mean, let's get into that then. But again, it was completely pointless. There's no point to even mention his name.
Yeah, if you're going to have all these people, give them some backstories that make sense.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm curious what is on the cutting room floor. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's really actually interesting. Like what they're gonna have, when they release it. That'd be dope.
I don't think they will. They haven't done any for the other versions, but
really,
why would? Yeah, exactly. Why would they release? I don't think we're ever going to find out.
We might get lucky with a handful of cut scenes on the Blu-ray or whatever, but.
I don't think that. Yeah, well, maybe. Do they release like deleted scenes anymore, or have they stopped doing that?
Very rarely, and usually if they do, it's for older movies, or it's like the last few minutes that got cut out just before release. You know what I mean? Like that last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Cut out generally. That's generally all that winds up on them anymore.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there's been. I'm trying to think of the last time a newer film has had any significant deleted scenes on the disc. None that I can think of offhand.
Yeah, I don't even see why they would do that, because all they basically do is admit, oh, we really screwed up here. Look at that screw up. Imagine how much better the movie is going to be here. Of course, it gives fan editors something to work with, and that's always awesome.
Yeah, that's
so there's that aspect to it.
But no, like, I don't think we'll get a extended cut of any kind, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that would surprise me. Because if you look at the other ones, there's none for any of the others, and like the 2000s are over. We shouldn't go and expect like extended cuts as a regular thing, because they're not.
Gotcha.
It's an
and they had the opportunity with the first one because they just recolor timed it for the Blu-ray for a 4K release. So.
Yeah, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
I don't know how significantly different it is or why, but because again, it's kind of like the BBS one where it's not that old, but I don't know if Gareth Edwards was unhappy or something with how it was, because I guess they took out like a bunch of the red crap or something like that was in the original. I don't know.
Oh, it doesn't have to be so complicated. Wanted to do a re-release I'm not going to speculate. I don't know.
No.
Simple as that. So
that was the one I was getting mixed up with the Snyder cut release or the BBS cut release. Yeah. That one's the one they recolor timed for some reason. They took out more of the red for some reason.
Why, I have no clue. I thought that was like fine to begin with, but
I guess it was just too overly saturated I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, when you think about it, and again, not to go down some fucking rabbit hole, but like when the way most theaters are showing it nowadays, when they show it in digital, they got their shit turned down, so it's probably all dim and it doesn't show up like it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably overcorrect for that kind of shit. I know they do for 3D movies now. So when it came to video, it was probably like oversaturated. So Gareth was like, "Yeah, if you can tone that down a little bit next time," and they did for him. So there you go. That's probably why. That's
Maybe.
like a wild guess in the dark.
Well, doesn't have to be a bad guess, even though it's in the dark.
Yeah, because you'll have sometimes the same thing with sound. Like they'll want to remix the sound for home video, or they'll do a home video mix that's different than the theatrical because they know the audio mix down is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. And all right, let's see if there were any other super chats that we were missing. Let's see. No, we are still fully caught up. So, any final words on Godzilla versus Kong, the movie that many have been waiting for years, and now finally it's here?
I wish it was better, but I'm not disappointed. Like I said, about a 7 out of 10-ish. I wish it was a little bit more of it and less of the crap. Paulie?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. It could have been like a really great movie, they definitely had the fight sequences, the looks of each of the monsters. They looked incredible. It needed a better overall story, but still a good popcorn flick. I might go see it in the theater. I did see it on HBO Max, so that might be fun to
if
go
it
see
actually pops up in 3D, I would. I don't know if they did a or not.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely for these times, go and see it. It does kick some butt.
Yeah, and as for me, absolutely go see it. I know many have been looking forward to this movie. So yeah, go see it. I think it was a lot to like here and less to dislike. Like the weakness here has always been the human characters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what I liked here is that the problem with the human characters was confined to one group. And that was the only group that I disliked.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think that the humans actually did fairly good here in establishing context and everything. So,
well, I think you get a mix of both. Here's the thing: like Kong had an overabundance of good characters in it.
Yes,
because even the worst of the characters is not that bad, and that's Brie Larson's character.
It's the Godzilla characters that suck. The Kong characters are good. And I still want to see what happened with the Godzilla with the Kong characters from Skull Island.
The ones that actually
even though they were those that are still with us, those that didn't die from old age.
Well, I'm sure the what's his face character died, John C. Reilly by now.
Oh yeah, obviously he was old even then.
But no, I was actually it's kind of funny. I was half-ass expecting an old aged what's his face from Kong Skull Island to just kind of pop in one bit.
Tom Hiddleston, thank you. And I was thinking I'll be disappointed if he doesn't show, and he didn't show.
I actually didn't mind their storyline. It's just the actor I didn't have such a don't like, but the Hiddleston Larson thing was pretty good because it wasn't it was good like you said.
I'm trying to think. How old would Hiddleston's character be? Right, he'd be in his 60s, probably 70s,
probably 60s or 70s. Old enough.
You could even have just had him, just come in for a walk on cameo and just to see Kong or something like that before they had set him off.
Mm-hmm.
Even that would have been fun, or just have him be working at that facility or whatever. He's just the old guy kicking around there still or whatever. But I mean, he's one of the only other people that would have a connection with Kong. You know what I mean?
Well, I always like it when he plays a kind of a good guy, you know. Hiddleston.
He's actually slowly, like, I had a point in my life where I'm like, I'm just not sure if I could ever accept this guy outside of playing Loki, but he's done enough.
Really good actor.
So he's an amazing actor
now. That he's grown on me quite a bit. So outside of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've known his work before that, so that's why but I hear you.
No, like, outside of Loki, I hadn't seen too much until recent years, and I even seen some of that one movie he did that people just trashed, but he played the country singer. Was it the Hank Williams, or who was it he played?
Oh, what was the guy's name? I know who you're talking about. Not Hank Williams.
It wasn't? No, it was anyway, it was a true story about an old country singer. I can't remember which one it was now. I didn't see the whole film.
Was Hank?
Was it Hank Williams? I thought so. I didn't see the whole film, but he got really trashed for it, and the stuff I saw in it, I'm like, why? I mean, I'd have to see the movie in full. Maybe the movie sucks, but
no, I haven't seen it, so I have no idea.
I can't remember what it's called. It's got a funky name, but it kind of. I saw the light. That's what it is. Thank you. Yeah, it kind of came and went. Can't be any worse than the Tupac fucking movie.
There's a Tupac movie?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Oh my god!
Like
All Eyes on Me. It was fucking horrible.
Oh right,
it came right on the heels of Straight Outta Compton, and I'm like, you idiots! Why didn't you just make it a fucking sequel to that? Because they had the guy playing it in Straight Outta Compton was like fucking spot on. I'm like, oh my god, that is Tupac. He didn't die. And he hasn't aged either. That was then the kid. This just the movie is stupid. It's just the way they did it. It was just like
there was a just.